Good morning, everyone. Thank goodness it's Thursday. And as I always say, I've never been so happy to see a Thursday in all of my life. Today is Thursday, July 16th, 2020, and we are going to be wrapping up this week's hot topics and excuse me, and current events. All this week, we have been really just talking about the things that have been happening, not only in our state and in our country, but just around the world with the pandemic and how it has affected schools and families and jobs and things alike. So if you missed any of those videos, please take an opportunity to watch those. I think they bring some very insightful information. And I also feel that, again, you can learn different perspectives and you can learn different viewpoints from different people. Okay. And I'll be sure to leave those links at the end of the video for you. Okay. Um, Also, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, as there will be a very important announcement that I will be posting later on today. So please make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell. So every single time I upload a video, you'll be the first one to know about it. Okay. But this announcement is important, and um, it will speak on the future of, of adult ed and the direction in which I will be going as it relates to adult ed. All right. So excuse me, and I forgot to bring my water. So if you hear me doing that, my apologies in advance. Um, but today I would like to talk about the schools reopening during the pandemic. And I really would like to get your thoughts and your feedback about that. Some people feel that it is too early to open schools because the numbers continue to increase, and a lot of people are continuing to unfortunately pass away from this deadly virus. However, some people feel that children are okay, and that because their immune systems are strong, that they can withstand the coronavirus, which to me is utterly ridiculous. And yes, people have said that. Okay, I did not make that up. That was actually said. Also, what has really not been said is the fact of, let us see how our children react to going back inside of the building as it relates to the pandemic. And of course, this plays a very important role, not only with the students, but you also have faculty members, staff, and other people, excuse me, that could definitely be affected. And I heard another, I guess someone else is trying to join us. So let's see. Okay. All right. So again, with that being said, um, there's a lot of factors, and there are a lot of people that play very important roles as it relates to the schools opening back up. And of course, I just heard a ding. So as always, I would like to announce the student that has just joined us. Good morning. I know I heard a ding. I know, but nonetheless, if you are joining us, welcome. Okay, and today again we will be discussing your thoughts and your opinions about schools opening. Again, some people say that schools are opening too early because the numbers are continuing to rise. Some people are saying, well, even though the numbers are rising, our children will not be affected by the coronavirus, so they should just go ahead and go to school. Which, again, in my humble opinion, is not the right thing to do, because you have teachers that will have to, you know, teach the students, and it's going to be very hard depending on what grade level the child or the children are in, with social distancing and, wearing masks. And I know for the younger population, such as pre-K, kindergarten, maybe first grade, it would be very difficult to adhere to those guidelines. And I heard another ding. Always, I would like to acknowledge who has just joined us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Hampton.
Good morning, Miss Philomena. Thank you for joining me this morning. Um, so, as I was saying, we are going to jump right on into this conversation about schools reopening, and I want to know your thoughts, and I want to know how you feel about schools reopening. Okay, so I want to open the floor. Excuse me. Again, I did not bring my water this time, so again, my apologies if I keep clearing my throat. um, but I want to get your viewpoint on your feelings and your thoughts as it relates to schools reopening for the fall. Um, so I will start with Miss Philomena. You can take yourself off of mute, Miss Philomena, and I would like to ask you a question. What are your thoughts and your feelings about schools reopening for students that are in kindergarten through 12th grade? Do you think that they are opening the schools too early, or do you feel that the kids should go back to school despite of the pandemic? What's your thoughts?
My thought is that they should give a hold, place a hold and watch how the virus goes because kids are difficult to manage.
Yes, 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 yes. I agree. I totally agree. And I literally just said, I think right before you joined us, that depending upon the age of the child or the children, if you have younger people such as pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, and maybe even second grade, those those groups of young people are kind of hard to manage already, simply because they like touching things. They really are not understanding the importance of keeping their hands to themselves. And now, because we have to adhere to the guidelines because of our new normal with wearing masks and washing hands and practicing social distancing, it may be a little difficult for teachers to manage that. So I definitely agree with that. Do you feel that the schools are open? Do you feel that the schools are opening too soon? Do you feel that they should wait? And if so, how long do you think the schools should wait before they reopen to the kids coming back again?
I think I think they should hold on and watch the drop down of graphene in the virus to see how it is. If the virus comes down drastically, then school can start and the classes can be placed, children can be placed 10-10 in the class with a lot of supervision, additional teachers to be in place while the main teacher goes on. That is in the kindergarten. They, they need to have an attendant at the back of the class while the teacher teaches. So the attendant supervises them while the teacher teaches. So in that, there could be total control or minimum control of uh, of the children, touching indiscriminately on themselves.
Ah,
Oh, if you got me.
okay. And I really like your explanation about how this would definitely, not only affect the students, but this would also affect the teachers as well. So and thank you so much for that feedback. You can put yourself back on mute for a quick second. And I want to see if Miss Ha would like to chime in and give her thoughts. And Miss Ha, you can take yourself off of mute and you can answer the same question as well. Do you feel that students are going back to school too early, or do you think that they should wait? Okay, and Ms. Ha is a little shy, and I didn't mean to put her on the spot, but it is important that I, try to engage and have these conversations with you all, simply because these are things that are happening right now as we speak. And so it's it's just good to know, where you stand and your different, vantage points, as far as all the topics that we've discussed on this week. So, Ms. Hall, you do not have to answer, so to speak, but it is something that I would like for you to think about. Um,
It, it's way for I think for the end of the year is better for the next summer.
okay, so you're saying that they should wait until next summer.
Yeah,
Okay, you know what? I will agree with that, because by that time the virus should have died down or gone away, or maybe they would have came up or created a vaccine by then. But remember, vaccines for viruses and such, they take years to create. And so but anything is possible, as far as getting, vaccinations for the virus, and seeking treatment and things like that. So again, I really appreciate your answer. And you can go ahead and put yourself back on mute, because now I would like to discuss the teacher's vantage point as it relates to schools opening back up. And I want to also discuss the parents' vantage point as it relates to the schools reopening back up during this pandemic. So, as an educator, and although we've been doing this virtually since the middle of March, I'll say March, Aprilish, um, I feel that schools should not be opened for the remainder of the year. Like Miss Philomena said, they should, wait to see what the numbers are looking like, and they should see if the curve has been flattened. So yesterday we talked about, when we saw the charts on yesterday, how they need to flatten the curve. And so I think each county in, the state of Georgia, and not only in the state of Georgia, but all over, should be looking at the numbers to see how they are flattening the curve and what do they need to do to continuously flatten the curve, because now children are being heavily affected by this virus. So again, this virus is not discriminatory. Okay, it doesn't matter your age, your weight, your size, color of your skin, your nationality, your ethnicity. It doesn't matter. This virus is unfortunately taking everybody and is getting to everyone. Okay, but from a teacher's perspective, I feel like that schools should not reopen, again, simply because the numbers are increasing. Um, it's a big controversy right now because, again, parents are going back to work. They're going back to their buildings, and their places of employment, and it is going to be a little difficult, or challenging, if you will, for those parents to monitor and to make sure that their child is doing their work and turning in their work and just being engaged with the lessons that the teachers are creating. Um, Now, of course, adult ed works a little differently because we are year-round schooling, and so July 1st to June 30th, that is the fiscal year for adult ed. School adult ed programs operating, technical colleges who fall under that guise or that umbrella. That is that's the timeline that we have. And so when people were asking me, well, how is this gonna, affect, you know, you? And I said, it's not gonna affect me at all, simply because I've worked year round before as it relates to adult ed. And so, it really didn't bother me for me to, continuously give you all high quality, engaged lessons and content. But I think, of course, it was a little different simply because we're doing it virtually. And again, we talked about the digital divide a couple of days ago, and how a lot of families don't have the resources, or they have limited resources to participate in virtual classes. So make sure that you watch that video. And again, I'll probably leave a card up there so you can click on that video, or I'll leave it at the end, about the digital divide and what that is and how it has played a major role um, in this pandemic. Okay, so again, I think that all schools should open virtually. Excuse me. All schools should open virtually, and they probably should not go back to school. Honestly, I would probably say, like Ms. Ha said, give it a year. So I would say probably go back into the building around March, because at that point it will be a year since the pandemic has started. So I would say March 2021, I think students should be able to go back to school, because by that point it will have been a year. And young people need, the social interaction. They need to see their friends face to face. They like giving high fives and hugging and fist bumping and all that good stuff. And unfortunately, right now at this time, none of us can do that. And so I feel that if we give it a year, to give the pandemic a year to die down, the numbers decrease, the number of deaths decrease, excuse me, the numbers decrease, and we show that each state is making progress because they're putting guidelines and policies and procedures in place. I honestly think that by March of 2021, students should be able to go back into the buildings. Hopefully by that time, the buildings will have been super sanitized, super clean, germ free, just those things, because we do have germaphobes. And a germaphobe is someone that has a fear of germs. They're constantly washing their hands, or they're constantly, using hand sanitizer, or they're constantly wiping down their equipment because they don't like germs. And that's okay. You do have people that are very conscious about germs, and that's a good thing. Okay. So again, I say, if we wait a year, I feel that the pandemic will have died down by then, and we can get back to our quote unquote normal. And I think that would definitely make the students happy. I know the parents will definitely be happy, because again, the parents had to take on the role of being a teacher as well. So hopefully, to any parents that are watching this video and you had to transition yourself from, parent to teacher, please understand that teachers are essential, and we have one heck of a job to do, no matter what age level we're teaching, whether it's from working in a daycare to working in a college and to working with adults. It is very, 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 especially around this time, it was very challenging, simply because now we had to, learn this technology and try out different platforms and see what platform worked for, for our program. Different programs use different formats and different platforms. And so we had to, for adult ed, we had to learn, with Zoom and then Google Meets. And now we are introduced to this new platform called Blackboard, which basically works the same as Google Meets. It is, but a lot of tech schools, a lot of other adult ed programs are using this platform to get information to their students, posting assignments and things like that. So I say that to say this: teachers are essential. A lot of teachers do feel that we should not be going back into the buildings at all, because the questions that come up are, what if the teacher gets, test positive for the virus and you have to self quarantine for 14 days? And then if your teacher works with multiple, if teachers work with multiple children, which they do, that means each child will have to be tested to, and it's just a lot of work. And substitute teachers probably will not take the opportunity nor the risk of coming to said schools to substitute for that teacher. So again, there is a lot of things at play when it comes to this pandemic as it relates to the schools opening back up. So now I want to segue to the parents. And I would like to also hear you all's thoughts about parents as well. So let me set up the scenario for you. A lot of parents are now going back to their places of employment. Some parents are opting to stay home and work from home simply because the numbers are continually rising. And in addition to that, this also gives them the opportunity to monitor their child in making sure that the child or children are being engaged with their schoolwork and they're turning in their assignments and, doing those types of things. So how do you think that the parents feel? And I want to start with Miss Philomena. How do you think the parents feel about schools reopening during this pandemic? Do you think parents are excited about this, or do you feel that parents are not happy about the schools reopening? What are your thoughts?
I think parents are worried.
Okay.
They are
Why are they worried?
They are worried because the control of the children might be difficult and they are likely to have contact the virus, and they are not willing. They are not willing to take their children back to school.
Okay, absolutely. And I definitely do agree with that. A lot of parents that I've spoken with have decided to have their child continue or start the school year off via virtually. Some counties, and I'll just speak of Georgia. Some counties in Georgia have decided to start the school year virtually. For example, Clayton County, the county that we're in, they have decided to push back their start date for students, and their start date for students will be August 10th. And this was from Dr. Beasley, which is the superintendent of Clayton County Public Schools. He basically wanted to give the teachers extra time and opportunity to, create engaging lessons, making sure that they have, the information for the teachers, for their students, up to date. And he also wanted to give the teachers an opportunity again to just again make sure that they have all of their resources that they're going to need for the upcoming virtual school year. Now, Cobb County, on the other hand, which is north of Atlanta, I think northwest or northeast, is like the Marietta, Kennesaw area, if you're familiar with that. They are going to open up their schools, and a lot of parents are concerned as to why they are opening up their schools because again, if a teacher gets sick and they test positive for the virus, the teacher is going to be out for 14 days because they have to self quarantine for those 14 days. And now you have the children are at a higher risk because remember, the virus is airborne. Okay, so let me put that out there as well. The virus is airborne. So, it doesn't have a place where, that where you could catch it or where you can't catch it. So that's why whenever you go out, it's important that you wear a mask. It's important that gloves are optional, but mainly wear a mask and make sure that the mask, is fitting enough to where you can breathe and it is comfortable for you. Okay. But the parents are worried and they are concerned, um, simply again because of this pandemic. And I feel that parents should speak up more. I feel parents should, let their voices be heard, because parents are advocates for their children. They're the voices, they're the voice or voices of their children. And I think it's important that school boards and superintendents and anyone else that that's on the school board and a part of that assembly should be able to listen and to hear the concerns and to be mindful of coming up with a solution. Um, for example, I want to say Fulton County has decided to go ahead and start virtually as well. I forgot. I think their start date, and I might actually have it confused with DeKalb. But one of their, I think it's either APS or DeKalb County. They are going to be starting schools August 24th. So they're pushing the dates further back. Again, simply because to give teachers the opportunity to get their resources in order and to get the tools and the support and the training that they're going to need to maneuver and navigate through this first half of the school year. So again, thank you so much, Miss Philomena, for sharing. And I want to hear from Miss Ha. Miss Ha, do you think the parents are worried about the pandemic as well and sending their kids back to school? I don't know if Miss Ha is still still with us, but hopefully, Miss Ha is still with us.
Yes,
But, oh, okay. Would you answer the question? Do you think parents are worried to send their kids back to school?
yes,
Okay, can you tell me why do you think they're worried?
because so many uh, children is careless, careless.
Okay.
Yeah, they catch everything in the school.
Yes, absolutely. And I like that. So again, you and Miss Philomena, you both basically have the same answers. Parents are worried because again, if their child or children are not old enough to understand what is happening, especially with young people, they like to touch everything. They're like, "Ooh, this is nice. This is so. Ooh, this is." So, so young people like to touch things, and they really do not have a grand understanding of why they can't touch certain things, or why they can't give their friend a hug, or why they can't give their friend a high five. They're not understanding the importance of not touching.
Mới
Okay.
nhiều quá.
Okay. So, and you can put yourself back on mute, Miss Dodd. But I would like to show you all something. So give me one moment, because I want to see what you think about this. Uh, um, okay. Um, okay, there we go. I am not sure if you all can see that. If you can see this picture right here, if you can, please let me know by saying yes or no. Or if I need to make it bigger, then I'll do that. Okay. So let me see. I'll go ahead and try to make it bigger so that way everybody can see it. Okay, so I pulled up this picture, and the caption says, "Can teachers really do their jobs in masks?" Um, this is very. I think this is a very controversial topic. Again, simply because teachers are essential workers. A lot of people would, believe it or not, would disagree with that, which is totally sad. Okay. I think it's very, very sad and very crass, if you will, that some people think that teachers are not essential workers, when teachers are the ones that are building, molding, shaping the future and the bright minds of our children so that they can become successful. And so a lot of people are trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? I think they're trying to get teachers to come back to the classroom, and a lot of teachers are saying no. I cannot remember what state it is. I want to say it's either Missouri. I want to say it's the state of Missouri or Iowa. I can't remember, but it's a Midwestern state that is basically giving waivers to the students and the staff, and they have, and I guess they have a choice whether or not they want to sign this waiver. But what the waiver is saying is that the school district will not be responsible for the death or the passing of anyone, whether it's a student or, I believe, an employee of that school district, if they contract the virus. And when I heard that news, it really made me sad, because now teachers already put themselves on the line, and we already wear a lot of hats. And I feel when things like this occur, this lets me know that there are some there are some people that don't care about, the lives and the safety of their students and their staff. And I really want to say that it was the state of Missouri. I could be wrong, but please make sure that fact check and do research on your own. Stay abreast on what is happening. Watch the news, some social media, um, and just making sure that you are aware of what's happening. But that is true. I want to say that the state is Missouri, and how they are making parents sign waivers, basically saying you cannot sue the school district if your child dies from the coronavirus, which is horrible, which is terrible. Okay. School is a place where people, young people, older people, anyone who's enrolled in any program, school is a place where people can learn to how to be themselves. They're in a learning environment, they're around their peers. And so school is a environmental place where people come to learn, and people come to get an education. But the fear of that, because of this pandemic, is very alarming. And the fact that a particular state is making the parents, students, and even teachers, if I'm not mistaken, sign this waiver, they're jeopardizing people's lives. And not only not their livelihood, so to speak, but their lives. Because again, this pandemic, the second wave is coming, if it has not came already. So I feel, in my humble opinion, that the students will be the ones suffering at the end. And as you can see on this picture here, the teacher is wearing a mask. And if you've worn a mask, you'll know that it's very difficult to speak, because depending on how thick your mask is or what kind of mask you're wearing, it's very hard to understand or hear what it is that that the teacher would be saying. Okay, so teachers on I feel like some teachers could, but I don't think it would be in the best interest for teachers to, you know, wear masks and try to teach, because again, it would be very hard for the students to hear what they're saying. I think it would be very difficult to understand what it is that the teacher is saying. Okay, and there's one more picture that I want to show you, and I want to get your thoughts. Okay. Uh, uh, okay. Okay. So what I have here, and if you can see this, this is what some schools are opting to do. They are opting to have desk shields for their students. Okay. And as you can see here, the desk shield will protect students from, seeing things and all of that. So again, there's a particular picture. Here it is. There it is. Go with this one. Okay. So this says South Koreans return to school amid virus outbreak. Okay. So let me see. I just want to show you all the picture. Okay, that might be a video. Didn't really want it to be a video. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. All right, so let's look at this picture. And it says Taiwan school uses dividers during lunch to counter coronavirus. Okay, hopefully, okay. So I just want you all to see the picture here. All right. All right, so if we really take a look at this picture here, do you think that this would be a feasible idea, or do you think this would be a good idea for our students? And Ms. Philomena, I'm going to start with you. Do you think that this is a good idea for the students? Do you think that this will work in schools or no?
Yes, that's what I was earlier on saying. If in the class it can be spaced out of an average of 10 students so that the social distance can be there with the teacher and the attendant that can supervise the kids. I think,
Oh,
and
yes.
with marks, if they can, with the fixed marks and control. So in this note, once after the schooling, everybody is expected to go home. There will be no socialization.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
It
That's
will be basically the education.
yes, absolutely. I see your point. I really, really do. The only thing that I am not too fond of, oh, excuse me. The only thing I'm not too fond of is the fact that in this picture, there is no social distancing. Everyone seems like they're arm's length of each other, and that's too close. But I do appreciate the students, the desk shields. I definitely appreciate that. And again, we're just looking at what different, what people around the world are doing. And if it works for them, hey, it could work for us. And I honestly feel that they should also, when I say they, I do mean the government, they should also be aware and look at what different countries around the world are doing to flatten their curve. Um, But I also like the fact that these are yellow because yellow is one of my favorite colors. And so I really feel that maybe in 2021, this could probably work for our students, the students over here in the United States. Um, but if Taiwan and South Korea and if all those other countries around the world are flattening the curve by using, certain measures such as desk shields and teacher shields and things like that, then it could work. It could. But again, we also have to keep in mind that the virus attacks the respiratory system. Um, it's a severe case of dealing with the respiratory system, meaning if you have asthma, if you have bronchitis, if you have any type of anything to do with breathing, if you have difficulty breathing, if you have, anything to do with your lungs as it relates to the respiratory system, then you are susceptible rather, um, in catching the virus, and because it attacks your respiratory system, it may be a challenge for you. Okay, so again, I say this could work, but I will be willing to wait it out and see personally. And of course, when they practice with social distancing, I think that would definitely, help. Okay. And there's going to be one more picture, and then we're going to wrap this up and put a pretty little bow on this. Let's see here. Uh, um, it's there's a particular picture that I am looking for. Um, really quick. Oh, okay. So let me. Oh, I can't see that one. Oh man. Okay, so hopefully you all can see this picture over here. And it says best portable sneeze guards and desktop plexiglass panels. And I'm assuming this could be for the teacher. Okay. So again, if you now notice, most grocery stores or most essential places, um, I have not been inside of a Walmart in a while. Um, so I normally just stick with my grocery stores and my beloved Quick Trip. But if you notice, they now have these shields up. Some of them are plexiglass, some of them are made of other material, and they are considering. Some places are considering that teachers have this for their for their classroom. Do you think that this plexiglass would help the teacher? Yes or no?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, to a reasonable extent, it can help because when you look at it, teaching methodology, it's not specifically being on one spot. So does
Mm,
it mean you have to move about with the screen?
and that's a very, you know what, Miss Philomena, that's perfect. That's an excellent observation because teachers like myself, when we were in a classroom, we like walking around. And so that means the plexiglass or the shield would have to be long enough to where it could protect the teacher and the students as well. Um, and again, does that mean that we would have to pick it up and move it everywhere that we go? That would not be a feasible, choice, so to speak. But I honestly think that would just be too much for the teacher. And so I'm glad that you did bring up that point, Miss Philomena. I'm that was excellent because again, teachers have a lot on their plates as is. I mean, from lesson planning to um, you know, making sure that the standards are being met, making sure that the students are comfortable, making sure that, you know, everyone is, all the students are getting the high quality education that they deserve. Teachers do a lot, and it's a lot of things behind the scenes that students don't have no idea about what teachers do behind the scenes as well. So again, this is a very serious discussion, and I encourage you all to have discussions, you know, with your family as it relates to schools opening back up. You know, I don't know if you have, you know, children that are in, you know, school, or, you know, during this pandemic, but I think it's a great way to have a conversation with your child or children and see what their thoughts are as it relates to schools opening back up. Some young people want to go back to school. I miss my friends. I just want to see my friends. Not so much as the educational component of it all, but they miss the social interaction. Um, some students do not like the virtual socialization. They like the face to face interaction with their friends. And so a lot of them are like, I just want to go back to school to see my friends. I miss them so much. So, again, I honestly feel that schools are opening up, some school systems are opening up too soon. I feel that they should wait to see the numbers have decreased. I feel that they should, you know, make sure that they're checking the data, you know, from the CDC, and making sure, you know, that they're staying abreast on what is happening in their respective counties. Because remember, each county operates differently as it relates to schools. Okay, so if you do not live in Clayton County, I would, you know, strongly advise that um, you know, stay abreast on what is happening in your child's district, or even at your child's school, making sure that you are communicating with, you know, principals, their teachers, any other faculty, the guidance counselor, the registrar, even assistant principals, principals, you know, making sure that that parents are communicating with those respective um, people in leadership. Um, because a communication, as you know, with Miss Hampton, communication goes a very long way, and it is detrimental to me. The importance of communication. Okay, so I think we did an excellent job with our discussion for today. The both of you, Miss Philomena and Miss Ha, gave some really good insights, and I really appreciate, you know, you all's participation as it relates to schools opening back up. And again, I really strongly encourage you all. I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share though. I really encourage you all to continue to have conversations with your family about this pandemic and how it's affecting your job and your school, schooling. If you have children, that school age children, if you know, if you have kids that go to school, even if you have children that are in college, colleges are heavily being affected because now they're saying that the schools may be starting back online even for colleges, um, and the international students that are here on school visas or school vouchers, um, thank goodness that they will be able to continue their education here in the midst of the pandemic, because the president was basically going to say, hey, you're going to have to go back to your country because we don't support the online schooling for international students, which again is totally it's just not right. Okay, and I'm going to keep it as PG and as nice as possible because I could say more, but I won't. So again, I just want to encourage you all, please have conversations daily with your family. Find out what their feelings are. Find out what their thoughts are as it relates to schools opening back up during this pandemic. Because again, This is our new normal right now. And so I feel that it's very important that we make sure that we are staying abreast on everything that is happening in this world. Okay. So I'm going to stop the screen share. Oh, it's up here. Ha. Okay. And I am actually going to go ahead and end this video. But remember, please stay tuned because I have a very important announcement that I will be sharing later on. So please make sure that you click the notification bell, subscribe to my channel, so that way every time I load up a video, you'll be the first one to get it. Okay. And remember, all the videos that we have done this week as it relates to the pandemic, I will leave them over here, and I will leave my subscribing to my channel over here, or I might leave it in a card. I'm not quite sure, but it'll be in the video. And if you don't see it in the video, then that means it'll probably be in the description box or the pinned comment section. Okay, so thank you all so much for joining me this morning. The first week back from your vacation. I I'm just I'm just thankful and humbled that you all just joined me on today, and I really do appreciate it. So again, with that being said, videos will be over here. My subscribe button will be over here. And with that being said, Miss Hampton loves each and every one of you, and there's absolutely, emphatically nothing that you can do about it. Please stay tuned for my upcoming announcement video, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.
Thank you, Miss Hampton.
You're very welcome, Miss Philomena. Thank you.
And